Yes. Ah. Good morning, all. So in the last class, I explained generating function, right? So actually, on that day I was on dash. So there is one small mistake I did. So I'll explain it one more time. The generating function. Right. So let's see this generating function one more time. So the format of the generating function I told you, right? So generally the generating function is in the form of g of x is equal to a0 plus a1x plus a2x square plus so on up to infinity. That means it is an infinite series. So it is an infinite series, right? So you can write it in summation form as g of x equal to summation of, as the starting limit is 0. So 0 to infinity an into x power n you can write, right? And from this first equation, if you take the first term, that is a0 to the LHS part, it becomes a1 into x plus a2x square plus so on up to infinity. And this can be written as g of x minus a0 is equal to summation of n equal to, here the starting value is 1. So the lower limit will be 1 an into x power n. Along with these two, we need to remember one more formula, that is summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity a power n x power n, a power n x power n, it is equal to 1 by 1 minus ax, 1 by 1 minus ax. On the day I said it is an, right? Sorry. Okay, so please do remember all these formulas. Clear, ma? So summation of a power n x power n is equal to 1 by 1 minus ax. Is it clear? Now we'll see the example. Right? Now let us see one example. Let me explain the same one which I explained in the last class. an is equal to an minus 1 plus n with initial condition given as a0 is equal to 1. Sorry, or else an is equal to 3an minus 1, where n greater than or equivalent to 1 and the initial condition is given as a0 equal to 2, right? So there are what are the steps to be followed to get the solution I explained, right? So first step is you always need to define the definition of this define this generating function. So what is this? We know that it is summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity an into x power n, or you can write it as some aj of x minus a0 is equal to summation of n is equal to 1 to infinity an into x power n, right? Now consider the given recurrence relation. Take the given recurrence relation, right? Now when you observe this format of this g of x, right? So here you are saying that this an is the solution. What is your an here? This is a coefficient. An is the coefficient of what? Coefficient of nth power term. Coefficient of this nth power term, right? So you need to convert your recurrence relation in this g of x form. You need to get a g of x form such that you can get the solution, right? So this is the given recurrence relation. So now the first step to be followed is you need to divide this given recurrence relation with x power n. Why? Because here we have an into x power n. So multiply the recurrence relation with x power n, with x power n. Therefore you will get an into x power n is equal to 3an into, sorry, 3an minus 1 into x power n. This is the second step. Now the next step is you need to apply the summation. Why? Because summation of an into x power n is the format of g of x, right? So apply the summation on both the sides. But then what you will get? Summation of an into x power n, I can write it as minus summation of 3an minus 1 into x power n. Right? Now what is the runners for this n? So here always the upper value is infinity. What is the lowest value? Greater than or equivalent to 1. So the smaller value or the least lowest value is 1. Right? Now you have to take the summation. Now what you need to do is you need to convert these terms in the recurrence relation to get a form of g of x. You need to get this g of x, right? Now you can write this as, what is this n equal to 1 to infinity n x power n? This is g of x minus a0. I can write it as g of x minus a0, right? Minus 3 into here. Here the suffix is n minus 1 but the power is n. So you need to have both same. That is the reason what I am going to do is I am going to multiply and divide with x. I'll multiply and divide with x so that there is no change. Right? Now it can be written as g of x minus a0 is given as 2 minus, I'll take this x outside of this summation and n is equal to 1 to infinity a n minus 1. Here it is, you left with x power n by x, that can be written as x power n minus 1. Is it clear? Now, so you can write it as g of x minus 2 minus 3x into, you can write this as, here if it starts from 0 you will get a n x power n. If it starts from 1, here we got a n minus 1 x power n. That means if you put n equal to 1 here, then what will you get? A 1 minus 1, that is a0. That means you will get the first term as a0 only, that so that you can write it as g of x, that is equal to 0. Or you can consider n minus 1 equal to m and you write one more step as m is equal to 0 to infinity am into x power n. After that also you can write it as 3x into g of x. Clear, ma? Now you take g of x as common. Take g of x as common. Then what you will get? 1 minus 3x is equal to 2. And you can write it as g of x is equal to 2 by 1 minus 3x. It can be written as 2 into 1 by 1 minus 3x. Now what is this 1 by 1 minus 3x? Where I have written? I forgot to write. So summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity a power n x power n is equal to 1 by 1 minus x, right? This is the formula you have to remember. Now it is in the form of 1 by 1 minus ax. Therefore you can write it as a power n x power n. So I can write it as summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity. What is your a here? 1 by 1 minus x. Your a is 3. So 3 power n into x power n. So this can be written as summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity 2 into 3 power n into x power n. Now what is the coefficient of this nth term? Coefficient of this nth term is 2 into 3 power n. Therefore, a is equal to 2 into 3 power n is the general solution. Is it clear? Yes, is it clear, ma? Actually, in the last class, I said it is a n. That is a mistake I did, sorry. Now, let's see one more one. Consider 8a an is equal to 8a n minus 1 plus 10 power n minus 1. Same for n greater than or equal to 1, and initial condition is a0 equal to 1, a1 is equal to 9. In this also I did some mistake. Whatever we solved in the last class is okay. A n minus 1 plus 1. Okay. So an is equal to an minus 1 plus n, where n greater than or equal to 1, a0 is equal to 1. So what is the first step? Always the first step is you need to define this generating function. Define the generating function as, I think you can write this first step. Define the generating function as summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity an into x power n. Right? Now second step is multiply this equation with x power n. Therefore what you will get, an into x power n plus an into x power n minus an minus 1 into x power n equal to an minus 1 into x power n plus n into x power n. Now take the summation, then it becomes summation of, what is the minimum value? N is equal to 1 to infinity. an into x power n is equal to summation of n is equal to 1 to infinity an minus 1 into x power n plus summation of n is equal to 1 to infinity n into x power n. Right? Now you know that this can be written as g of x minus a0. Right? Therefore in place of this I can write g of x minus a0 is equal to, here the suffix and power are different though, so what you need to do, you need to multiply and divide with x, multiply and divide with x, plus summation of n is equal to 1 to infinity n into x power n into x power n. Therefore it can be written as g of x minus a0 is equal to summation x. I can take out this x out of this summation and write n equal to 1 to infinity an minus 1 into x power n minus 1 plus summation of n is equal to 1 to infinity n into x power n. Right? Now this can be written as g of x minus a0 is equal to x into, here it is, I can write this as g of x again. So x into g of x plus, so when you observe this term, this is not in g of x form, right? So g of x form means what? The limit should start from 0. Therefore what you can do is to change these runners, to adjust these limit values, I am going to add a 0 to this. I'll add some 0 into x power 0 I will add, plus summation of n equal to 1 to infinity into x power n. Therefore what happens is this 0 can be absorbed into this term, into this summation, so that this runner will change. Minus a0 is equal to x into g of x plus, now you can write it as summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity, right? When you move this term to into this summation, then the summation, the lower limit value will change from 0. Why? Because for g of x, the lower limit should be 0, right? So it can be, now you need to remember, this is the formula you have to remember, ma. So it is equivalent to, when you observe this formula, summation of this summation limit changes from n is equal to 1 to n is equal to 0, and it is n into x power n. Now the formula for this is nc1. nc1 minus a0 is equal to x into g of x plus summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity n choose 1, we'll call it as n choose 1 into x power n. You have to remember this, ma. This is the formula you have to remember, right? Now your, what is the value of a of a0? A0 value is 1 minus x into g of x. You just move this g of x term to the left side, and it becomes, now summation of n choose 1 into x power n. The formula for this is x by 1 minus x whole square. These are the formulas you have to remember. Summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity, n into x power n is equal to nc1. Summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity nc1 into x power n, and this is equivalent to x by 1 minus x whole square. You please take down these formulas, ma. Summation of nc1 into x power n is equal to x by 1 minus x whole square. So in place of this I have written x by 1 minus x whole square, right? Now you can take this g of x as common, and it becomes g of x into 1 minus x is equal to 1 plus x by 1 minus x whole square. 1 plus x by 1 minus x whole square. Right? You take down this, I'll erase it and I'll continue. Take down this. I'll erase if you have finished. Okay. So what is the last step we got? G of x into 1 minus x is equal to 1 plus x by 1 minus x whole square, right? Now you can write it as g of x is equal to 1 by 1 minus x plus x by 1 minus x whole cube, right? When you take this 1 by x to the right side, it becomes like this, right? 1 by 1 minus x plus 1 x by x minus 1 minus x whole cube, right? Now you can simplify this as, this LCM is, now it becomes 1 minus x whole square plus x by 1 minus x whole cube, right? 1 minus x whole square plus x by 1 minus x whole cube. Or else there is a, you can from this you can write it as g of x is equal to summation of 1 by 1 minus x is what? 1 by 1 minus x. It is summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity a power n x power n is equal to 1 by 1 minus ax, right? So here it is in the form of 1 by 1 minus x. Consider this. 1 by 1 minus x can be written as, here your a value is 1. That means a power n. 1 power n into x power n. So it indirectly equals to x power n. So n equal to 0 to infinity x power n plus this can be written as, right, x by 1 minus x whole square is equal to what we have written before this step. What is the step before this? X by 1 minus x equal to nc1. N choose 1 into x power n, right? Now it is x by 1 minus x whole cube. So it is equal to n is equal to 1 to infinity n plus 1 choose 2. N plus 1 choose 2, or you can write n plus 1 c2 into x power n, right? Now this can be written as g of x is equal to, you take a summation as n equal to 0 to infinity x power n. Take this x power n as common, or let me write like this, n power 1 c2. When I am writing in this form, it means n power 1 choose 2. We'll call it as n power 1 choose 2, or we can call it as n plus 1 c2 into x power n. So this can be written as summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity x power n into 1 plus n plus 1 c2, n plus 1 c2. Now what is the an value? The coefficient of this x power n. That is, therefore the solution is 1 plus n. 1 plus n power n plus 1 choose 2, or n plus 1 c2. Clear ma? So what you need to remember is, the one is this formula. Next one is summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity n choose 1. N choose 1, that is equal to x by 1 minus x whole square. N choose 1 is equal to x by 1 minus x whole square. Clear? These are the formulas you have to remember, ma. Is it clear? In the last class, whatever the problem we have solved, there I did one mistake. I told you, no. So let me explain it one more time. Okay. I mean, the procedure is okay, but the what we call simplification I did. There is one mistake I did in simplification. Okay. Let me do that. And that is an is equal to 8 an minus 1 plus 10 power n minus 1 n greater than or equal to 1, a0 is equal to 1, a1 is equal to 9, right? Now I am writing directly, ma, not stepwise. So first what we'll do, an into x power n. First we are multiplying with x power n is equal to 8 a n minus 1 into x power n plus 10 power n minus 1 into x power n. Next take the summation starting from 1 is equal to infinity a n into x power n is equal to summation of 1 to infinity 8 a n minus 1 into x power n plus summation of n is equal to 1 to infinity 10 power n minus 1 into xn, right? Now it can be written as g of x minus a0 is equal to, so you can write it as 8x into summation of n is equal to 1 to infinity a n minus 1 into x power n minus 1 plus here also the suffix and these are power are different, so you can multiply and divide with x so that you will get summation of n is equal to 1 to infinity 10 power n minus 1 into xn minus 1. Sorry, you're multiplying with x power n. X power n. So it becomes x power n minus 1. Therefore, it is g of x minus a0 value is equal to 1 is equal to 8x into, you can write it as g of x, 8x into g of x plus x into, here it is in the form of summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity. I can write it as summation of m is equal to 0 to infinity 10 power m x power m, right? So summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity a power n x power n is equal to what? 1 by 1 minus ax, right? So where a is equal to 10. Therefore, this can be written as 1 by 1 minus 10x. Clear? Right? Now you take this g of x as common. Therefore, you will get 1 minus 8x is equal to 1 plus x by 1 minus 10x. Right? X by 1 minus 10x, and this can be simplified as g of x is equal to uh, sorry, g of x into 1 minus 8x is equal to, take 1 minus 10x as common, then it becomes 1 minus 10x plus x, that is 1 minus 9x by 1 minus 10x. Now it can be written as g of x is equal to 1 minus 9x by 1 minus 8x into 1 minus 10x into 1 minus 10x, right? Take down this first. Now we'll simplify this. Make it fast. Finished? Yes. Now you simplify this. Shall I erase? So we got g of x is equal to 1 minus 9x by 1 minus 8x into 1 minus 10x, right? Now, do you remember the partial fractions method to solve this type of equations? If not, please listen here. So, using this partial fractions method, using partial fractions method, so you can write it as 1 minus 9x by 1 minus 8x into 1 minus 10x is equal to a by 1 minus 8x plus b by 1 minus 10x. Now you need to find the values of a and b, right? So you take the LCM. So therefore this denominator will get cancelled. Now it becomes 1 minus 9x is equal to a into 1 minus 10x plus b into 1 minus 8x, and you simplify it. 1 minus 9x is equal to a minus 10ax plus b minus 8bx, right? Now you write it, you take x terms at one side and constant at one place. Now it becomes a plus b minus x into 10a plus 8b, right? Now you compare the likely coefficients. Compare the likely coefficients. When you compare the likely coefficients, what you will get? Constant is a plus b here. Here the constant is 1. So a plus b is equal to 1, one equation. And you will get, compare the x coefficient. So you will get 10a plus 8b is the minus x coefficient here. And the minus x coefficient is 9 here. Right? Now you can solve these two. Right? Now when you multiply this equation with 10, what you will get? 10a 10a plus 10b is equal to 10, and when you subtract, what you will get? Minus 2b is equal to minus 1. Therefore b is equal to what? 1 by 2. So here a plus b is equal to 1. So if b equal to 1 by 2, then what you will get? A plus 1 by 2 is equal to 1, such that a is equal to 1 by 2. Right? Now you substitute in this formula. Take down this. Finished, ma? Make it fast. Right. Now you got the values of a and b, right? So g of x is equal to 1 minus 9x by 1 minus 8x into 1 minus 10x. This can be written as g of x is equal to, we have written it as 1a by 1 minus ax plus b by 1 minus 10x, right? Now you got the values of a and b, so substitute them. A value is 1 by 2 into 1 minus 1 by 1 minus ax plus b is also 1 by 2 into 1 by 1 minus 10x. Now you take the LCM again. G of x is equal to, now it becomes 1 by 2 into 1 by 1 minus ax plus 1 by 1 minus 10x, right? Now 1 by 1 minus ax equal to what? Summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity a power n x power n. In that form you write. G of x is equal to 1 by 2 into 1 by 1 minus 8x can be written as summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity. Your a value is 8. So it can be written as 8 power n into x power n, plus here the value of n equal a equal to 10. So it can be written as 10 power n into x power n. Right? Now it is g of x is equal to 1 by 2 into summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity 8 power n plus 10 power n into x power n, and it is summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity 1 by 2 into 8 power n plus 10 power n into x power n. Right? Now it is in the form of summation of g of x equal to summation of n is equal to 0 to infinity a power n x power n, where a n is your solution. Therefore the solution is 1 by 2 into 8 power n plus 10 power n is the solution. So this is about the generating function, solving the recurrence relations using the generating function. Is it clear? So any recurrence relation can be solved using iterative approach, method of characteristic roots, and the generating function. These are the three methods you can use to get the solution for a recurrence relation, right? So this is about the solving of recurrence relations, right? So and after this, the next and the last topic in this unit is principle of inclusion and exclusion. Is this clear for all? Solving recurrence relations, all the three methods. Now we'll move on to principle of inclusion and exclusion. It is very easy topic. I think you know it. Maybe the term you don't know. Say, shall I erase it? Now the next topic is principle of inclusion and exclusion. Principle of inclusion and exclusion. Right? So this principle of inclusion and exclusion says that if A and B are any two finite sets, if A and B are any two finite sets, then this theorem says that the cardinality of A union B is equal to cardinality of A plus cardinality of B minus cardinality of A intersection B. I think you know this. You have applied the same in probability, right? We'll write n of A union B is equal to n of A plus n of B minus n of A intersection B, right? So here it represents the cardinality. That means, suppose if you consider A is equal to 1, 2, 3, then the cardinality, it is represented like this, right? It is similar to, we'll write mod, in the same way we'll represent the cardinality. So this represents the number of elements in the set A. So the cardinality of A will become 3, right? So this is for two sets. When there exist two sets, you will write cardinality of A union B is equal to like this. Suppose if you have three sets A, B, C. A, B, C are any three finite sets. Then, one second. Hello? 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 Class lo unna nana, bye. So suppose if A, B, C are three finite sets, then how is this principle of inclusion and exclusion says that cardinality of A union B union C is equal to cardinality of A plus cardinality. First, what you need to do is first to take single terms or single sets at a time. First step is you need to take single step at a time. Next, you have to take two sets at a time. Next, you have to take three sets at a time. If there are four sets, then you have to take four sets at a time, right? Now, while writing this formula, first starts with plus, next with minus, next plus, next minus, and it will be continued. That depends on the number of element, right? So always the will start with single elements, right? Single elements, right? So for all the single elements you will get plus. Next for double elements you will get minus. Next for three elements you will get plus. Next for four elements you will get minus, and this will be the alternate plus and minus will be changed. This is for single element, or this is for two sets. This is when you take three at a time. This is when you take four at a time, right? Now first we need to take one at a time, one set at a time, right? So for that we'll have plus. Next what you need to do, you have to take two sets at a time, right? Now first while writing this you have to consider first set, and with that first set write the combination with the remaining sets, right? So first to take A and do the combinations with B and C. For all the terms, when you consider two sets at a time, it will be minus only, right? Minus A intersection B, minus A intersection C. Next with A, the combinations were done. AB and AC are done. Next consider B, you will get only one, that is B and C. Next what you have to do? Next will be taking three sets at a time. So for that you will get plus. So A and B and C. That's it. Clear? Take down this. Finished? Suppose if you consider four sets at a time, then A union B union C union D, right? A union B union C union D, right? First what we have to do, you have to take one set at a time. For that you will get only plus A plus B plus C plus D minus. Next we will get minus, right? For two terms you will get minus. So with A you will get AB, AC, AD, right? AB, AC, AD. Next you will get B with B, BC, BD. Right? With B you will get BC, BD. Next you will get CD. With C only one, right? Next you have to take three sets at a time. Take three at a time. Therefore it be A, B, C, A, B, D, and A, B, C, A, B, D. Next A, C, D, A, C, D, right? Next B, C, D, right? That's it. How many you got? 1, 2, 3, 4. Next will be taking 4 at a time. So for that you will get minus. So A, B, C, D, right? So how many? Whether we got all the terms or not, right? There is a formula to know how many terms we got, whether we got correct number of terms or not. Suppose if the number of sets are n, if you consider n number of sets, then you have to get 2 power n minus 1 terms. If the number of sets you have considered is n, then you have to take 2 power n minus 1. Sorry, you will get 2 power n minus 1 term. So here what is n ma? You have 4 sets, that is A, B, C, D. So 4 sets were there. So how many you should get? 2 power 4 minus 1, that is 16 minus 1 equal to 15 terms you have to get. Check whether we got all 15 or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you have written all the terms. Clear ma? Take down this. After that I'll write the generalized formula. Generalized formula we'll write. Hey, you didn't note down the previous slide, ma? 7D. Okay. Let me know if you have finished this. Now, let me write the generalized formula. Cardinality of A1 union A2 union up to AN. If n number of sets are there, then you will write, first how you will write, first you will take single sets at a time and you will add them, right? Like A, B, A, cardinality of A plus cardinality of B plus cardinality of C, like that, right? So that is summation of from 1 to n, from first element. How you will write? Summation of A1 plus A2 plus so on up to AN, right? So this can be written as AI, cardinality of AI, where I ranges from 1 to infinity. Clear? Next, for the first term you will get plus. Next, for when you take 2 sets at a time, you have to get minus, right? Minus summation of, here you have to take AI and AJ. 2 you have to take AI and AJ, that is AI intersection AJ. So it's I less than J, where it ranges from 1 to infinity. Next, when you take 3 at a time, it will be plus. So 3, that means AI, AJ, AK. I less than J less than K plus, sorry, next will be minus, right? Minus. So on up to minus 1 whole to the power n plus 1. Why? Because you don't know how many terms are there. You don't know the value of n, right? So this is like cardinality. I have used the basis. So it is cardinality. You write like this. A1 intersection, A2 intersection, so on up to AN. Clear, ma? So this is the generalized formula. You can apply it for any number of sets. Generalized formula. Take down. Now we'll see some examples on this inclusion and exclusion. Hmm. So see the first problem. I'm not writing. In a class of 80 students, number of students are 80. In a class of 80 students, the girls and boys are in the ratio 3:5. The girls and boys are in the ratio 3:5, right? That means here we have girls as well as boys in the class. Total number of strength is what? Total number of strength it is given as 80, right? So this is divided into girls and boys, and in which it is divided into 3:5 ratio. That is, girls are 3 ratio, boys are 5 ratio. So what is the total number of girls? 3 by 3 plus 5 into 80, that is 30. Similarly, 5 by 8 into 80, which is 50. Now the number of boys in the girls in the class are 30, boys in the class are 50, right? Now see what is the next information given. The students can speak only Hindi or only English or both Hindi and English, right? Now students, they said students, right? That means they can be either girls or boys, either girls or boys. So we have girls and boys who either speak Hindi or English or both, Hindi or English or both, right? Now the next information is the number of boys and the number of girls who can speak only Hindi is equal. Only Hindi means this part. The number of girls and the number of boys who can speak, that means these two parts are equal. These two should be equal. That is equal. Who can speak only Hindi is equal, and that is equal to 40% of the total number of girls, right? They said that the number of girls who speaks Hindi, number of boys who speaks English, Hindi is same, and that is equal to what? 40% of the number of girls. Number of girls are how many? Number of girls are 30. Therefore, it is 12. So, this value will be 12. This is also 12, right? Next information given is 10% of the girls who can speak both the languages. 10% of the girls can speak both the languages. And 58% of the boys can speak only English. 58% of the boys speaks only English. So first one is 10% of girls. 10% of girls. Girls are 30. So 10% of girls speaks what? They can speak both the languages. So the girls who speaks both the languages is this part. So that is 3. Next given is 58% of the boys. 58% of the boys means what? 58 by 100 into boys are 50, right? That is 29. So 58% of the boys speaks only English. That is, this value is equal to 29. Is it clear? Now you can find the girls who speaks only English and the boys who speaks both the languages, right? How you can calculate that? Here it is this value. To know this value, you know that the total number of girls is 30. They can speak Hindi or English or both, right? So 30 is equal to 12 plus 3 plus unknown. This is not known. Similar here, 50 is equal to 12 plus x plus 29, or you can take y, right? So when you simplify this, x equal to 30 minus 15, that is 15. So the number of girls who speaks English is 15. Now coming here, y is equal to 50 minus, it is 41. 50 minus 41, that is equal to 9. So the number of boys who speaks both the languages is 9. Right? Now what you need to find out is, sorry, that was not given. First question is, how many girls speaks English? How many girls speaks English? Second question is, how many boys speaks Hindi? And the third question is, how many students speaks both the languages? And the last one is, how many boys speak either only Hindi or only English, right? Now first answer is, how many girls speaks English? So here English, only English is 50, both English and Hindi is 3, right? So the question given is, how many girls speaks English? He doesn't mention anything about Hindi, right? So we have to consider the people or the girls who speaks only English and the girls who speaks both English and Hindi, that is 18. So the answer for the first question is 18. Now the second question is, how many boys speaks Hindi? So the boys who speaks only Hindi is 12. The boys who speaks both Hindi and English is 9. So it is 21. Now the third question is, how many students, that means boys and girls, speaks both the languages? Girls who speaks both the languages is 3. Boys who speaks both the languages is 9. That is 12. And the last question is, how many boys speaks either only Hindi, either only Hindi. Only Hindi is how many? Only Hindi is this part, that is 12. Or only English. Only English is 29. That is 41. Clear? Take down this. This is the question. If you want, you take the question first. Alvinda?
Yes, going.
ఇంత చేయండి.
Then దాటినాక
ఇంత టీచర్ ఇవాళ వర్షం వచ్చేస్తుంది సాయంత్రం
10:59 ఆల్రెడీ కానీ
నేను నేను ఇక Finished? Ah. Ah. ఏంటిది?
వడియాలు ఉన్నాయి, వేయించుకుంటారా?
Now the next example is, see the next example. So in a class of 200 students, total number of students are 200. 125 have taken programming language. 125 students has taken C programming language. 85 have taken DS. 65 students have taken CO. 50 taken both C and DS. This information is given. Let me write the information here. Total number of students are 200 and 125 students. Who took the programming language is 125 and 85 DS. 85 DS. 65 COA. I'll write O. 65 COA. Right? Now 50 students taken both C and DS. C and D is 50. 35 DS and CO. D and O is 35. Right? 30 D and CO. 30 have taken both DS and CO. 35 students have taken both data structures and CO. 30 students have same, it is given ma. Yeah. This is C ma. C and CO. So C and CO is 30. And 15 have taken all the three. C and D and O is 15. What is to be calculated? How many students have not taken any of these three courses? The number of students who haven't taken any of these three courses, you have to calculate, right? So only C, only DS, only COA is given. The combination is also given, and the students who have taken all the three is given. Now you have to find the number of students who haven't taken any of the course, that is to be calculated, right? So total number of students, it is given as 200, right? Therefore, the number of students who have taken at least one course we will calculate, that is C union D union O. This represent the number of students taken at least one. So from the total number of students, at least one student, the at least one course, if you subtract, we will get the number of students who haven't taken any of the course. So this is equal to C plus D plus O minus CD minus CO minus DO plus C and D and O, right? You just substitute the values. 50 plus 35 plus 30, 125 plus 85 plus 65 minus 50 minus 30 minus 35 plus 15. When you simplify this, what you will get? 5 275, right? Yes, minus 275 minus what is this? 5 115 plus 50, that is 300 minus 115, right? Sorry, 290. 290 minus 115, that is equal to 5 7 5 7, that's it, 75. Sorry, 175. అంతేనా? 290 minus 115, 58, sorry, 57, 175. Clear? Now the number of students who have taken at least one course is 175. Now you have to calculate the number of students who haven't taken any of the three, who haven't taken any course, is equal to 200 minus 175, that is equal to 15. Clear? Sorry, 25. 25. 200 minus 175, that is 25 is the answer. Is it clear? Take down. Can you hear me? You please take down one example. My system got stuck. I'm unable to unmute. So you take one example. I'll display it. All of you, please take down the problem. I'm unable to unmute and I am unable to share the screen. Right, this is the last problem. With this, your fourth unit will be finished. Right, please take down the problem. I'll read out and you take down the problem. Out of 250 candidates, you please take only the necessary information. No need to take the complete problem. Take that. There are 250 candidates who has written an examination. Total number of candidates who wrote the examination is 250. Am I clear? The number of candidates, that is, here we three subjects were included like maths, physics and chemistry. So you write cardinality of M union P union C is equal to 250, because 250 students has attempted this examination of maths, physics and chemistry. Clear? Take down cardinality of M union P union C equal to 250, right? So let me read the question. Out of 250 candidates who failed in an examination, it was revealed that 128 failed in mathematics. 128. Therefore, you take down the cardinality of M. That means the number of students who failed in mathematics is 128. 128. And 87 students failed in physics. So the cardinality of P is equal to 87. 134 failed in chemistry. Cardinality of C is 134, right? So what is the information given? M union P union C is equal to 250. M is 128. P is 87. C is 134. Right? Now, 31 candidates failed in maths and physics. That is, M and P is equal to 31. M and P is equal to 31. M and P is equal to 31. Next, C and maths. C and M, chemistry and maths. C and M is equal to 54. Yes, ma, I am unable to share the screen. That is why I am reading the question and I am asking you to take down the information. I don't know what happened. Suddenly my system got stuck and I am unable to mute and I am unable to share the screen. This is the last problem anyway. With this, your 4th unit will be finished. Don't worry. Okay. Have you taken the information what I told you as of now? C and M is equal to 54. Next, C and P, the number of students failed in chemistry and physics. C and P is equal to 30. Is equal to 30. 30. Right? This is the given information, ma. Total number of students who failed is given, that is 250. And the total number of students who failed in especially maths, physics, chemistry is given. Number of students who failed in maths and physics, chemistry and physics, chemistry and maths is also given. Now you take the question. First question, find how many students failed in all the three subjects. Failed in all the three subjects. So what are we supposed to calculate? M intersection P intersection C is to be calculated. M intersection P intersection C. That is to be calculated, which will give you the number of students who failed in all the three subjects. Clear? So what is the formula you can use? M union P union C is equal to M plus P plus C minus M intersection P minus M intersection C minus C intersection P plus M intersection C intersection P. You substitute the given information in the formula and you will get M intersection P intersection C. You will get M intersection P intersection C. Yes? You substitute and let me know what is the value. How many students failed in all the three? 16. Yes, it is 16. Very good. Now take the second question. Find the number of students who failed in maths but not in physics. Who failed in maths but not in physics. That is, what are we supposed to find out? M minus P. In the first unit I told you difference. A minus B represents what? The number of elements present in A but not in B. Here the question is, find the number of students who failed in maths but not in physics. Right? So you have to calculate cardinality of M minus P. M minus P you have to find out. And the formula, beside that you take down the formula. M minus P is equal to, cardinality of M minus P is equal to cardinality of M minus cardinality of M intersection P. M minus P is equal to M minus M intersection P. Clear? So now you substitute the value of M and M intersection P. Let me know the answer. 97 you will get. 97, yes. 128 minus 31, you will get 97. Yes. Right? So in this way you can solve the problems given on principle of inclusion and exclusion. Right, ma? So this is about your 4th unit. Let me know whether all of you have understood this 4th unit. Are you having any doubts? Still, if you have any doubts, you please let me know. What we have discussed in this 4th unit, the recurrence relations. What is a recurrence relation? How to, when a sequence is given, how to find the generalized formula for that sequence. That is how to find the recurrence relation we have found, and we have seen how to solve the recurrence relations. How to solve the recurrence relation using all the 3 methods, and along with that we have seen how to solve a non-homogeneous recurrence relation too. After that, the last one is principle of inclusion and exclusion. Right? So with this, your 4th unit is completed. From the next week onwards, I'll start the 5th unit for D section, ma. E section people, your sir will take from next week. Clear? And you please practice more number of problems in this 4th unit, ma. It is almost a complete problematic unit. 4th unit is. So try to solve more number of problems. Okay? If you have any doubts, you can please message me through WhatsApp. Can we have revision on discrete probability and advanced when 70? Now we don't have class. No, I have one more class at 11 o'clock. Next class. This revision on discrete probability. Okay. Oh, sorry. Discrete probability also comes under this unit only, right? Yes. Okay, ma. I'll revise one more time. So for D section people, I'll revise in the next class, and I'll start the 5th unit. Okay. What about E section, ma? Have you understood?